Wow. I love that that is like the first thing he says. Like his first statements as president is, it's so unfair to me. The State Department and the Justice Department has been so unfair to me. I'm done with that. Except I'm not done with that. I'm just going to redirect it back to my enemies now. Let's get to the, let's watch the swearing in ceremony.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, James David Vance, do solemnly swear.
I, James David Vance, do solemnly swear.
That I will support.
Wait, I thought his name was Johnson Don. I thought his name was John Don Vance.
And defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith.
That I will bear true faith.
And
so did a billion people. Bro, Steven Crowder said, bro, what? Chat. Please. You want to know something? Look at, dude, that move was so insane. Steven Crowder posted it.
My heart goes out to you.
Do you understand how insane that is? My man hit that Roman salute, dude. That is not a sus moment. It's not suspicious. It's auspicious. Okay? It's out there. It's out and about. Why do you say Roman and not Nazi? I mean, I don't know, because technically it's called the Roman salute. That's why. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just, he actually did two of them. Yeah, he hit the back-to-back. The two-time Grimes. It wasn't a Nazi salute. It was a Roman salute. The father of my children would never Nazi salute. Please, can I see my child now, Elon? Thank you for following me back, Elon.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly.
Yeah, people are talking about how Donald John Trump didn't put his hand on the Bible when he was being sworn in, and I think that's really funny because he's the f***ing Antichrist, okay? You want to know why he didn't put his hand on the Bible? Because he's the Antichrist. If he touches the Bible and swears on it, he will erupt in flame, okay? No, because he's Muslim. Yeah, that too. Also, that's true. That's true.
Solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
We did it. We did it. We did it. Oh my God, we did it. Here, let's look at the inauguration speech as we await further activities from the day, okay?
Vice President.
Here.
Thank you very much, everybody. Well, thank you very, very much. Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden,
Obama,
Vice President Harris,
Obama,
and my fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end.
Wow. I love that that is like the first thing he says. Like his first statements as president is, it's so unfair to me. The State Department and the Justice Department has been so unfair to me. I'm done with that. Except I'm not done with that. I'm just going to redirect it back to my enemies now.
And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country, sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before.
Like, I don't think anybody believes this. I'm being serious. I think we're doing shock doctrine to ourselves in this upcoming stage. I think what we did to the USSR in the dissolution of the USSR, we are doing to ourselves, because once the Cold War ended and capitalism won, neoliberalism was the domineering ideology in the Western capitalist world, and America dominated the planet. And in that process, of course, we still enforced cruelty upon the global South, and we accelerated imperialism as well. But what I suspect, and what we have been doing for the last couple of decades, I think, and what I think will accelerate even further now, late stage capitalism, as some would call it, is basically turning the crosshairs of exploitation back to the, back to the domestic affairs, back, virtually colonizing the interior, rather than simply keeping it to the exterior and offering some of those benefits back to the labor aristocrats, offering some of the bounties of empire back to the domestic population. I think we will start picking at the scraps of what remains of the American government. It's not even blowback necessarily. It's not even blowback. It's just that capital is a parasitic force inherently, okay? It always has to dominate because it always seeks out more profit. And you cannot generate more profit when technology keeps advancing and it makes things easily accessible. There is no infinite growth. So when there is no infinite growth, at the end of the day, when you're done destroying the global South, you inevitably have to turn those crosshairs back to your domestic labor population. And I think that's what we're doing. The age of leisure, my ass. No, the age of leisure was like the 80s and 90s, right? The dot-com bubble, like all of the bounties of like assuming that we can just like permanently grow and permanently prosper. And then what happened? 2008 housing market crash. Obviously 9/11. War on Terror, 2008 housing market crash. And in that process, instead of slamming the brakes on the permanent growth attitude that we had, the permanent profit-seeking attitude we had, what do we do? Even in our recovery, what did Obama do, for example? He kept up the pre-existing hierarchy, and that recovery process was still K-shaped in the exact same way that we saw after COVID. Those at the top ended up gaining from this collapse, even though they were responsible for this collapse through multiple decades worth of neoliberal deregulation. So on the one hand, it was still very much both Democrats and Republicans of the past that caused the 2008 housing market to happen. And they did that because they were doing the bidding of the wealthy, the super wealthy, and the corporations. But even in that recovery, there was still opportunity for more profits. So it is not an accident that in that time frame, America saw great wealth transfers that continued to trickle upwards rather than evenly distribute down to the working class. That would have been a much healthier recovery for America. But even in that process, we decided, nope, we're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And I suspect that that is where we're at right now. I think as things worsen, as societal collapse becomes inevitable, the same profit seekers, corporations, and the super wealthy will continue trying to generate as much wealth as they possibly can. And they will do so by genuinely worsening the material conditions of the American labor force as well. So I think Yanis Varoufakis is correct when he says we are in the age of techno-feudalism.
But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world.
I do think that Republicans do a better job of marketing their not administrative functions, but I think Republicans do a better job of just like pacifying the public by not actually pacifying them, but making them more angry. But instead of being angry at the systems, redirecting that anger towards marginalized people, right? Democrats, on the other hand, approach it with like this institutional stability attitude, right? They say, oh, good things are not possible. We're the adults in the room. Of course, we're going to have to give you the broccoli. You have to just sit there and eat this vegetable. And if you cry about it, well, then you're too stupid to understand that it's good for you. Whereas the Republicans will come in and be like, no, we're going to give you sugar all day, every day. Candy for dinner, baby. That's right. Meanwhile, they're serving you the same poison. And even at a more accelerated rate than the Democrats are serving you that poison. Because Democrats do actually, to a certain degree, reinstate stability. They're still the adults in comparison to the Republicans, at least on domestic issues, right? At least on domestic affairs. But Americans, as conditions worsen for them, Americans understand that these institutions are not there to protect them at all. So they don't care necessarily, if that makes sense. They don't care about preserving these institutions because they're like, what has that done for me? What has that done for me at all? I don't care. So they seek out someone who will at least offer them some additional treats or offer them anything, really. A fear that I've had, that I have consistently reiterated through the first Trump administration, was the Tucker Carlson phenomenon. Tucker Carlson came into prominence at Fox News as a WASP nationalist, right? A person who was very good at propagandizing a National Socialist position, right? A Nazi position, but for Americans who, you know, still ultimately think Nazis are bad, at least for the time being. And what he would do is hype up a populist sentiment, a pro-worker sentiment, but pro-legacy American worker sentiment. He would call it legacy Americans. He can't call them Native Americans, obviously, because that's an entirely different thing. What that meant was WASPs, the OG Americans, right? And I often warn that if the Democrats do not engage honestly and earnestly with left-wing economic populism, they will cede ground to the right that will do that. And they will not do that in an honest way at all. They will simply use that as a marketing tool. And that's what Tucker Carlson did. And that's kind of what Trump did too, the first time around, and certainly doing it now. And that's where we're at. In the eyes of many Americans, Donald Trump is seen as the guy who is protecting the American working class interests. By doing what? By fighting against the scourge of migration into the country, by scary brown folk that want to kill, rape, pillage, and steal your jobs, but also steal your welfare. But Donald Trump also is seen as the protector of working class interests because he's going to do trade isolationist policies that will restore the manufacturing capabilities of America. Now, will he actually restore the manufacturing capabilities of America? Absolutely not. I don't believe that at all, because at the end of the day, he himself is a billionaire and also cares about the corporate oligarchy. And if I look at all the things that Donald Trump has done in his first term, his most successful initiatives have always been at the behest of the oligarchs, at the behest of the corporations and the super wealthy. What is his signature policy accomplishment? His signature policy accomplishment was what? Tax cuts. Gigantic tax cuts at a time when American corporations were already seeing supercharged profits. Corporate tax rate being lowered and a permanent tax break for the top marginal tax rate. And he's going to do that again. All of that actually accelerates the demise of the American working class because it greatly increases the wealth disparity. It greatly elevates income inequality in this country. It is the opposite of what America needs right now. And part of the reason why we have never gotten that is because the Democratic Party is also invested in the same endeavors. They are also bought and sold by the same corporate oligarchs. So we're watching that happen now. Democrats have completely dropped the ball on being the working class party and protecting the working class. So, of course, the Republicans are filling that void, at least aesthetically, as they continue to do the very same things that they did every time they've gotten into power. Deregulation at the best of corporations and tax breaks for the extremely wealthy. You might get a tax cut in the process as well, a crumb, right? Let's say your effective tax rate at the end of the year is like 40%, okay? Now it's going to be 37%. But the effective tax rate for the billionaires and the super wealthy was already at 0.01%. Now it's going to be close to zero, as close to zero as physically possible. And that difference from 0.01% to close to zero is in the billions.
We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. No longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly, and other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago, or more recently, Los Angeles, where we are watching fires still tragically burn from weeks ago without even a token of defense.
He's talking about Israel? Yeah, dude, totally. Yeah, Donald Trump is gonna no longer fund Israeli defense. Just wait.
They're raging through the house.
No, he's talking about Ukraine. Okay, and even then, he's not being super honest about that either. I have also I've been right so far on every single thing that has happened before Trump came into office, whether it be the ceasefire and what I warned about, like what will come down the line in terms of the ceasefire negotiations and where it will possibly go and what Trump will possibly do. I also told you that TikTok most likely was not going to get banned because it's like far too important for, American small businesses, and that basically treats are the most important thing for Americans. It's like it's the thing that keeps the American social contract together. Okay. And so heed my warning now. Okay. I have said this before many times over. I do not believe I do not believe that Donald Trump is going to take an anti-Ukraine stance in the way that liberal media claimed he would. If he throws Ukraine under the bus, what do you think it means? I think that he is aesthetically adopting that, like, why are we giving so much money to foreign nations and not funding our own borders? But what he will do will be very different, because Ukraine is not about, for Ukrainians, Ukrainian emancipation is an understandable, just, and moral cause. It is the most moral cause. Okay? For America, on the other hand, Ukraine is not about Ukrainian emancipation at all. Ukraine is about profits. Ukraine is about privatizing state-owned enterprise and buying it for pennies on the dollar. Ukraine is about debt. Ukraine is about our surplus weapons that we send over there so that we can, so that our military-industrial complex can justify larger sums, larger bounties down the line, because now we have to rebuild our supply. Ukraine is about military Keynesianism, building artillery factories in Scranton, Pennsylvania. That's what Ukraine is about for the United States of America. It's for profit. And for those reasons, I do not believe that Donald Trump is going to undermine the interests of the military-industrial complex, as he did not do so his first time around. He might have actually dealt with Afghanistan and talked about pulling out of Afghanistan, but he never actually succeeded in pulling out of Afghanistan. That was Joe Biden that did that. And then Ukraine happened. So I don't think that he is going to, I don't personally think that he's going to do something that's like dramatically different than Joe Biden in terms of dealing with Ukraine or NATO in general. After all, one thing that you have to remind yourselves is that Trump actually ran as an anti-NATO candidate, right? He claimed that he was like, why are we giving so much money to these NATO countries? And what did he do when he was president? It's not like he undermined NATO. He simply demanded that our NATO partners, our NATO allies, give more back to the United States of America. Like a mob boss coming in and demanding more from the local Italian food restaurant for protection, because NATO at the end of the day is a protection racket. And it was so not a destabilizing move that the Biden administration continued Trump's policies in that regard. It's not like Biden went back and said, hey, you guys no longer have to put more into the NATO fund. They just kept it up. They continued it, right? And I think that things like that are more instructive of understanding what Donald Trump is going to do next, right? So I don't think that he is going to destabilize NATO or undermine it, or he's like secretly Vladimir Putin's guy, okay? What is this? Hasan is right. He called it. Now media is saying it. Why Biden's Ukraine win was Zelensky's loss. I think that we'll see if he actually tries to do a ceasefire in Ukraine. It's entirely dependent on our profit-seeking military-industrial complex. I think that ultimately that is what matters most. The best possible way to go about it from Trump's perspective, where he still maintains a steady flow of weapons being shipped out to Ukraine, but also gets an aesthetic victory, would be to minimize the conflict to the best of his ability, where there's still need for Ukrainian security. You can still say, you can still ship out weapons to Ukraine, while simultaneously you can tell your base, like, we fixed it. We fixed Ukraine. Russia's no longer invading Ukraine. I don't know what that looks like. But like I said, I don't think that Trump is going to greatly undermine or, genuinely change the trajectory of American foreign policy on Ukraine. Liberals will be proven to be the war-hungry party. The grown-ups who went to the best elite schools can't get any deal done because they don't want to. European liberals literally couldn't talk about the idea of Ukraine doing a deal with Russia because of America. Yeah, I think just as I was an advocate for a ceasefire no matter what in Palestine, I was an advocate for a ceasefire no matter what in Ukraine as well. Okay? I've been consistent on these positions across the board because ultimately, ceasefires and any cessation of hostility is better than continuing to do war, even if the foreign adversary on the other side of that is not willing to play ball and will take advantage of said ceasefire and reignite hostilities down the line. But if hostilities are happening, right, and a moment of respite from that, is still good, because ultimately the counter to that is still going back to square one and continuing to bomb one another. If we had a competent leadership in Biden, if Biden truly was the foreign policy PhD that his administration propped him up as, I think that he would have forced Israel to cease hostilities in its military operations and its genocide instantly. Okay? And started the rebuilding efforts. But he never did that. That led to Donald Trump winning the election and also immediately sending his envoy there to actually apply pressure to the only party that was ruining the ceasefire negotiations. That gave a ginormous W to Donald Trump. In that process, I suspect that Donald Trump cut a side deal with Israel as well. I believe that he ultimately wants Israel to permanently annex the West Bank. At least that's what I suspect is going to happen, because that's what Miriam Adelson gave him $100 million to do so. Joe Biden never did that. In terms of Russia and Ukraine, I foresee something similar happening there as well. Like a minor moment, like a moment of solace that is then followed by, again, permanent war. And perhaps even more war and more bloodshed. So we shall see. I don't know happening, okay? But the notion that there was no negotiations to be made with the Russian side due to the unimaginable cruel and unimaginably violent, morally repugnant behavior of the Russian military going into Ukraine, invading Ukraine, was always the same, like, insane liberal attitude. You're just speculating? I am. Yes, that is what I'm doing. I'm speculating. And I'm openly admitting that I'm speculating. I'm telling you, there are certain things that I have foreseen that came to be true. And this is me further speculating on where I think this is going to go. This is why you come to me. You want to hear my perspective on this. Yeah, that's all I can do in this situation. But as far as like Ukraine goes, as far as what happens in Ukraine, I don't think that Trump would do anything in Ukraine that's like genuinely different than what Biden would have done in Ukraine, especially because the dynamic is a little different, right? With Israel, we hold all the cards. Israel doesn't do the bombings without our political cover. Israel doesn't get to violate human rights. Israel doesn't get to do the bombings without our bombs being shipped to Israel, right? But with Russia and Ukraine, Russia is, at the end of the day, a foreign adversary. So dealing with Russia is a little bit different, because the responsible party in Gaza is Israel. The responsible party in Ukraine is Russia. Russia being a foreign adversary changes the dynamic a little bit. If we had responsible leadership that was actually interested in ending the bloodshed, no matter what the cost, I think that they would have dealt with the situation a little bit differently, okay? They would have offered an exit ramp to the foreign adversary. They would have at least started the process of communicating with the foreign adversary. And the only time they ever did that in Ukraine was when they wanted to do hostage negotiations. So I don't know. Trump has already said that he wants Ukrainian conscription age to go down to 18. Because the reality of the matter is, on the field of battle, Ukraine is running out of people. They're running out of people. They don't have the necessary amount of weapons either, but they're also running out of people to hold those weapons to begin with. Go join Hasan? Wait, what? I want the war to end. Why are you talking to me like I'm some Redditor? You should maybe keep that energy for all the people that have made a living off of the bloodshed and the trench warfare, the people that literally kept egging it on over and over again and saying it was awesome and that it should continue no matter what the cost. You know, there's plenty of them out there, and I don't see them in the trenches, in the front lines. And I was never that person for Gaza either. So don't come to me with that shit either. But let's get back to Donald.
Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history, and I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope.
Are you still going to argue religion isn't the problem? Dude, yeah. Donald Trump, Mr. Religion. That is, I'm sorry. That is the funniest. Dude, looking at the Antichrist and being like, wow, dude. Are you still acting like religion isn't a major issue here? No, it proves my point. It's not about him, it's his supporters. Dude, what are you talking about? What religious person that is a Trump supporter that you know is actually godly? They're all going to hell. If Christian hell exists, they're going there, okay? Virtually every single evangelical Protestant that is a Trump supporter is perma-burning in hell. If there is a God, if there is a Christian hell, they're going to it, okay? Who abides by the religious standards of the religious doctrine, of the religious dogma? What are you talking about? It's just a weapon to wield, okay? That's it. Religion is ideology. It is a way for people to contextualize the world, okay? It is a galvanizing principle. Religion in this regard, is no different than white supremacy in this regard. Being used as a tool to divide, being used as a tool to galvanize. That's it. You think Trump is a religious guy? You think half of those congresspersons are religious people? Yeah, religious people that think homosexuality is a sin. And then, you know, except for when RNC is happening or CPAC's happening, then homosexuality is awesome, okay? It's nothing. It's not real. Like, this is not a real principle. It's not a real principled approach. It's just religion is a tool, okay? It's funny because for Trump, he doesn't even care to even remotely appear as religious. That's why it's funny. He doesn't even care to be, he doesn't even care to present himself as like a religious person at all. And yet the also supposedly quote unquote religious people love him. Why? Because it has nothing to do with religion whatsoever. It has everything to do with punishing their enemies. Okay? Most religious people, if you listen to like evangelical pastors and Christian nationalists, Christian dominionists, and all these other people, some of which are now going to be in Trump's cabinet, okay? They recognize that Trump is not the godliest person. They openly will say that. They'll be the first to tell you that. But they also think he actually, his policies help them, okay? And for them, their demonstration of religion is about punishing people that they hate. That's it. If it wasn't religion, it'd be something else.
Prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is...
Look at, dude, I love this. 2 hours after performing a very energetic sermon at the inauguration, Pastor Lorenzo Sewell has launched a crypto token. God, this country is so crazy. We are... Dude, how do you not recognize how messed up things are, man? We are farming the dullards for the last dollars that they have. It's griftonomics all the way down, baby. And ironically, all the way up. It is crazy. It is crazy. Like, the fact that Donald Trump did a rug pull one day before his inauguration is so insane to me. And then Melania did one as well. And then another Ryan Fournier or whatever, the other Trump students guy also did one back to back to back. Who is buying that Trump coin? Who is actually getting grifted here? Who is losing their money here? It's his own supporters. I'm not buying the Trump coin. People who hate Donald Trump are not buying Trump coin. People who love Donald Trump are buying Trump coin. So when you do stuff like that, you're actually rocking your own captive audience. It's crazy that this transparent graft is happening in real time in broad daylight. No one seems to understand what's going on either. They just think like, nah, it's great. I'm never missing out like this again. I'm setting up alerts for everyone in that world. 4G auto blow, Ryan Fournier, I don't care. I'm getting it on the ground floor of the next 10 shit coins or however many it takes for me to buy an F-15. It's money laundering. I'm sure there's money laundering as well. Like, I'm sure we don't know. We don't know anything. It's just the hilarious part about this is that it's just so unrestricted and unregulated. It's just like genuinely the most obvious scam of all time. But as conditions worsen, as it becomes increasingly harder to actually earn a dollar in the normal way through your wage, and as things get more and more expensive and upward social mobility becomes less likely, what do? You gamble. You spend money on things that maybe help you no longer, things that help you feel like the world isn't shit, okay? Whether it be OnlyFans or TikTok or all these other treats that you spend money on. And you think maybe I can also get one off on the other person by engaging in this like cryptocurrency stuff. That's where we're at. So I think it's still going to get worse. I think it's going to get worse and worse. People will, one, try to pacify themselves through a litany of different vices, whether it be drugs or any number of different things. And I don't have an issue with these vices in moderation anyway. But I do think that it spells trouble for the American future in general. But as conditions worsen, they will also try to, grab onto whatever they think is a mechanism of prosperity. What is the greatest immediate get-rich-quick scheme? Cryptocurrency. So all these people, knowing full well that shitcoins are, memes and obvious grifts, will jump on that train thinking they can fuck over the next person. That is where we're at. They think, oh, I'll be able to scam the other guy. I'll be able to get out before anyone else. And that's how these schemes work.
Is Liberation Day. It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural, and very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states, and the popular vote, we won by millions of people. Thank you. Thank you. National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country, we will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God. Can't do that. Eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities. America will be a manufacturing nation once again, And we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. Going to use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again, right to the top, and export American energy all over the world. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will...
Remember, in terms of the liquid gold under our feet, this is, once again, another anti-China initiative, or rather, instead of trying to compete with China on the renewable energy side of things, I think that this administration and even the Biden administration didn't like do what was necessary to the degree that it was necessary. There was some stuff that the Biden administration did in terms of like beefing up our manufacturing capabilities, like battery plants, things of that nature. But there's two different mindsets here. Either you look at climate change and you realize that carbon emissions must be cut, and you work to you spend a lot of money in R&D and try to make renewable energy more efficient and move away from fossil fuels, which is precisely what China is doing right now and has become the dominating force around the globe, or charge our current existing energy infrastructure that is reliant on fossil fuels with no care or consideration for the globe, including the United States of America as well, obviously, because we are, at the end of the day, also on, on this planet. And it is short-term. It is it's unimaginably short-term profit focused, but it is expected. So while China becomes the dominant force on renewable energy, although fossil fuels are a finite resource, a reality that even our fossil fuel producers recognize, which is why they've tried to hedge their bets by purchasing a bunch of these like green energy, renewable energy companies as well, to make sure that they have some kind of say in what happens in the future of energy. I think we've decided, at least with the Trump administration, that we are going to completely cut this renewable energy stuff and hyper focus on fossil fuels and keep melting the planet. God forbid we collaborate and cooperate with a foreign adversary and try to fix the ecological disaster that is already happening and will only get worse. Of course, we're not going to do that. Instead, we're looking to melt the table. Instead of playing the game, we're just going to flip the table, or rather, light the table on fire. That much is clear.
End the Green New Deal, and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers. In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice.
Unless it's a Chinese car, by the way, just saying. What's interesting about this is that it's not like Biden was open to allowing BYD or any sort of like Chinese cars to enter the American marketplace. Like, that wasn't the case. So I don't know what he's talking about here. Maybe he's saying like he's going to tariff European cars or something. Maybe, I don't know. Because Biden also maintained that trade restriction.
We will build automobiles in America again at a rate that nobody could have dreamt possible just a few years ago. And thank you to the auto workers of our nation for your inspiring vote of confidence. We did tremendously with that vote. I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. For this purpose, we are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our treasury, coming from foreign sources. The American dream will soon be back and thriving like never before to restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government. My administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency. After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
This, I think, is extra funny. Saying we're going to bring back free speech to America is basically, I mean, that's just, okay. Like, there's always been restrictions on free speech, as I talked about extensively earlier. And I do think that it's going to get significantly worse. Project Esther, under the Project 2025 banner, quite literally has a task force designated to combating anti-Israel sentiment. Okay? And I do think that they're going to follow through on that. I think that this administration is somehow even, maybe to the same degree, not even more captured, but to the same degree, captured by the same exact interest in terms of advancing American foreign policy, which of course means no mean words about Israel whatsoever. So I do think that in terms of like free speech, we're going to bring back free speech. Like, remember, these guys actively are anti-CRT, anti-DEI or whatever, right? Like whatever they call wokeness, that is anti-free speech. Okay? In terms of going after teachers and schooling and educational materials that teach the accurate the accurate history of the United States of America, that is anti-free speech. Book bans, anti-free speech. That is real cancel culture. Okay? No one ever seems to see it that way when the right does it, but that is true. And they're going to continue doing that. Okay? They are going to continue doing that, and they're going to further prosecute, in my opinion, further prosecute people who are naysayers of Israel, but also even the American government too.
Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities. This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Hell yeah! Let's go! No more non-binary. Like, what is this? What is this? What is this? What are you clapping for? You're such a fucking idiot, dude. I'm serious. Like, I know that understandably a lot of trans people in this community are terrified of this because this is a telltale sign that he's going to hyper focus on, like, you know, trans people and trying to like eviscerate them from public existence. Okay. But the idea that this in any way, shape, or form, like dominating trans people being a top priority of this administration, is so insane to me. And I keep trying to explain this to normies to the best of my ability, but it's like, if you think that stopping trans people from getting medication, okay, or going to the doctor is going to somehow make it so that rent is cheaper, you are the biggest delusional loser on the planet. Okay, you are a bot. You are a bot. You're an NPC. You are the easiest to fool sucker I have ever seen. Okay, so the fact that these guys are clapping for this, like, yeah, it's like, you're like, what has a trans person ever done to you? Nothing. Nothing. They, as a matter of fact, not these assholes in here because they are a part of the elites, but for the average Republican, a trans person has the exact same class interest that you do. They're also working at the same job sites that you work at. They also have to pay rent. They also have to pay for food. They're experiencing the same economic shocks that you are. Incredibly stupid. Same goes for undocumented migrants, by the way. Once again, like, these guys think, oh, if we just harm, you know, the Mexicans or whatever, maybe the situation will be better for me. That's not how it works, and it's not going to be that way.
This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay. And I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately. Our armed forces will be free to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies.
Yeah, like the communists within our ranks.
Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families. Thank you. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe.
Even, yeah, Biden put some respect on it. He'll stand for Israel. You know what I mean? His old ass heard Israel. I'm Israel. Ha, Jack. I'm glad that we had a moment of unity there, you know?
Awe and admiration of the entire world. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name.
People are laughing.
Of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs. President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, I mean, think of this, spent more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. Above all, my message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred. Together we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep.
I'm once again saying, President Xi, fire when ready. Okay, I'm here. I will receive it. We're so cooked. You know, Xi doesn't have to do anything. He just have to. He has to sit back and kick it. Okay. As always, the greatest thing you can do is not disrupt your enemies when they're making a mistake.
Keep our children safe, healthy, and disease-free. The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
What he's actually saying, talking about when he said China operates the canal, usually there's a slightest kernel of truth to it, like they let Chinese ships through or something. Yes, that's it. When he says that the Chinese are operating the canal, they're saying that like China is using the canal for trade. That's it. Like they don't operate the canal or anything like that.
Into the stars, launching American new territory.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did he say manifest destiny?
Raises our expectations and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars. Ambition.
Dude, come on, dude. What is this fit, bro? Like, what is this fit? Have some respect.
Is the lifeblood of a great nation. And right now, our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier.
Bro, also, Barron doesn't look convinced, dude. Look at this. Look at Barron. Look at Barron. Barron is out here being like, I don't know about this. Look at this man. Look at my man. Even Barron's like, you know what? I don't know about this.
Ambitious.
I don't know about what's going on.
Like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny, lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom.
We love talking about how like there's so much myth making in China or whatever, or there's so much mythology in like North Korea, and then we say stuff like this. You know what I mean?
Launched mankind into the heavens and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken. I stand before you now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best. From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride. Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America, promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We're going to win like never before. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to bring it back and make it great again, greater than ever before. We will be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. Our power will stop all wars and bring a new spirit of unity to a world that has been angry, violent, and totally unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again, including by people of religion, faith, and goodwill. We will be prosperous. We will be proud. We will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Sounds like the United States is back on its feet. Yeah, definitely. We're back, baby. We're back. We're so back. Yeah. Remember what? It's funny when he said America defeated fascism. Yeah, defeated it. Sure. Reigniting it more like, but what do I know? Hold on, I gotta pee.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President-elect of the United States, the Honorable Donald John Trump.
And I was going to talk about the things that Joe did today with the pardons of people that were very, very guilty of very bad crimes, like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs, where they literally, I mean, what they did is they destroyed and deleted all of the information, all of the hearings, practically not a thing left. They deleted all the information on Nancy Pelosi having turned down the offer of 10,000 soldiers. You wouldn't have needed 10,000. You could have had 500, and it would have stopped. Because we may have had 1 million people that day, the people that were there. You don't see any photographs, but we have a lot of great photos. But you don't see those photographs. They don't put them in to show the people at the Capitol. But I was talking about that. I was going to talk about that. They said, please don't bring that up right now. You can bring it up tomorrow.
I missed the kiss. Okay, here.
The Unselect.
Where? Is it here? Or is it in the previous one?
Ladies and gentlemen, the President-elect of the United States, the Honorable Donald John Trump.
Watch awkward moment. Trump tries to kiss wife Melania. This is what we should be focusing on. I agree. Yeah. Did Trump kiss her? Was he looking for a kissy poo? Did he actually get the kissy poo? Will Trump be having sex with Melania later tonight? Will Trump be dogging Melania out later? I don't care, man. Okay? I don't care. She has a hat on. That's probably why. But also, they hate one another, and who cares?
And I was going to talk about the photos. Murderers, absolute murderers, the worst murderers. You know, when you get the death sentence in the, they don't give it much and he pardoned almost everybody having a death sentence. And if you went through the crimes that were committed, you wouldn't even believe them, the level of violence, the people that were killed, the innocence of people that were killed, and children killed by these people. And he pardoned them for whatever reason. He spared them, but they didn't spare the people that they killed. And who knows what happens in the future. It's one of the worst, because a lot of times they let them out early after that. They say you're going to be in for life, but then all of a sudden they get let out for good behavior, and then they go on a rampage. It's one of those little things, right? But
yeah, the guys that had their stay of execution and had their sentences commuted and will still be in perma jail for the rest of their lives, they're going to actually secretly get out and kill a bunch of people now.
Talk about that?
At the age of like 75, you know what I mean?
But I was really going to talk about the level of, what's going on. Why are we doing this? Why are we trying to help a guy like Millie? Why are we doing Millie? He was pardoned. What he said, terrible what he said. Why are we helping some of the people? Why are we helping Liz Cheney? I mean, Liz Cheney is a disaster. She's a crying lunatic, and crying Adam Kinzinger. He's a super crying. I never saw the guy not crying. He's always crying. I looked at him, I remember.
Okay, facts. He's not even wrong about that. That's valid. That's valid. Adam Kinzinger, always crying. Mr. Cry.
Years ago, he was actually on my side. And then one day, when you don't want to kill people in wars, they turn against you. Liz Cheney hated the concept of not going to war with everybody. Let's kill everybody. Let's spend a lot of money on military equipment, where her father works, right? And but what she did was incredible. Think of it. They destroyed and deleted all of that information that went on for almost 2 years against Trump. And the reason they did, because it was all false. Like the person that said, I tried to strangle a Secret Service agent. That's one of the toughest human beings I think I've ever seen. I actually had a friend saying, please don't change that, sir. You are the coolest sucker in history. Remember, she said, I put my hands around his neck because he wouldn't go to the Capitol. Made up fiction. And I was rebuffed. And the guy on the right is a massive weightlifter, probably stronger than me. Do you think he's stronger than me, honey? You know who I'm talking about. Possibly stronger than me. Slightly younger than me, like, I won't say how many years because I don't want to talk about that, but a lot of years. But I had a friend that's...
Oh, he's on a roll, dude. He's feeling himself. When he starts dropping zingers like that, like when he just starts saying all this like random stuff, he is feeling himself, okay? He's feeling himself 100%. He's like, this victory, this is a ginormous dub. I'm going to ruin this country. I'm going to pick it apart for all the scraps that I can get for me and the homies. Oh my Lord.
Said, why are
riding
you
high today, boys?
That's the coolest story I've ever heard. That I would attack a karate champion, get slightly rebuffed, and then throw my arms around a guy with a neck about this big. Even though there are bars, there are bars, you can't really do that anyway. So I wanted to talk about that. But all of that stuff got deleted. And the reason it got deleted is they were all caught in lies. Secret Service testified, and they said it didn't happen. Actually, the two guys were very embarrassed. They're suffering because their friends are saying, did Trump really do that to you? But they gained a whole new respect for me. But it was just make-believe stuff, and there were a lot of make-believe stories made up. So rather than suffer the wrath, like the story with Nancy Pelosi, I offered her 10,000 soldiers. She knows it. She admitted it on tape that her daughter made. She's a videographer or whatever you call her, which I'm glad she is. So she can't be in good stead with Nancy. But Nancy said it was my responsibility. As she's leaving the Capitol, she said it was, and it was. She's in charge of security at the Capitol. But I offered them up to 10,000 soldiers, even more. One time I said, more, as many as you need. But you needed 400 or 500. If 400 or 500, you 10,000, that would be more than the number of people there by a lot. But we offered her 10,000. Think of it, 10,000 soldiers. In other words, J6 wouldn't be J6. There would have been no J6. But she rebuffed them. She didn't like it. No, she didn't like it. Maybe she wanted that to happen. But she's guilty as hell. And now we would have to go through the process because they destroyed all evidence. They deleted everything. There's virtually nothing left. The other fake story and so many other fake stories. And many people came out on our side. And those people now, we're going to find them. There's nothing left. So that's a criminal offense. If that were a civil case, it would be a criminal offense. If that happened civilly where you did that, it would be a criminal offense.
This is the stuff that Trump is going to do that I just actually don't care about in terms of like punishing the people that implemented the January 6th trials or whatever. I know that this is the thing that I suspect liberals will laser in on and not necessarily you know, all of the incredible military action that's going to take place against migration, against immigrants in general. This is, I suspect, what MSNBC will be talking about a lot more than anything else, really.
So I decided I'm not going to make this speech complicated. I'm going to make it beautiful. I'm going to make it a unifying speech. And then when they said we have a group of people that are serious Trump fans, I said, this is the time to tell those stories.
No, but the point I want to make today is to make clear my farewell address, as we all do have more to do. We have a lot more to do. We heard the inaugural address today. We got a lot more to do. I know from many years of experience, they're up and down, but we have to stay with it.
Dude, I can't, I hate this guy so much. I hate this guy so much. I hate this demon so much, dude. I will never forgive this man for handing the reins over to Donald Trump with his ineptitude, his incompetence, his pure selfish interest in maintaining power, pure ego, dude. And everyone that participated in this, all the way to Barack Obama, who cleared out the way in an effort to destroy Bernie Sanders' chances, to basically give this man the throne. Oh my God. It's just wild because, like, all of the cruelty that we will experience in the United States of America and all around the globe, this man is also responsible for it. Obviously, Trump is going to be primarily responsible for it, but make no mistake, liberals played a formative role in this collapse with their ineptitude, with their position as the controlled opposition party. Straight up.
My dad taught me the measure of a person, you heard me say it before, is how quickly they get back up when they get knocked down. That's what we have to do right now. And we've always done our best as Americans. We never, never, never give up. Never. We're leaving office, but we're not leaving the fight. You're smart, you're skilled, you're passionate. The country needs you again. So all of you can, stay engaged in all the ways you can, whether it's in public service, the private sector, philanthropy, academia, running for office yourself, or anything else you choose to do. I give you my word, we believe in you. We, Jill and I, our family, believe in you. Just as I've said, how the laws we enacted, our seasons are going to grow and bloom for decades to come. I say that to you as well. I have no doubt you'll make this experience and take the friendships you made to continue to do amazing things in decades to come.
I'm reminded of the Joe Byron 2019 campaign launch where he was like, Donald Trump is now a Nazi, he's a fascist. That's why I'm running to restore the soul of this nation, Jack. Remember? Joe Biden in 2019. Everything that Donald Trump stands for is antithetical to American democracy. We're going to fight him tooth and nail at the ballot box. Or, sorry, battle box. Battle bots. Look at them now. Part of that is because liberals take great pleasure in the fact that they get to do a peaceful transition of power, right? That's it. Like, they're like, look at us. We're such adults. We're doing a peaceful transfer of power because the American project is far more important. The maintenance of the American project and business as usual politics is far more important than handing over the keys of the castle to a out and about psychopath.
Can you say, by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at this voiceless place?
This is dark, man. This is actually, bro, this is Yo, Sky News done did it again. Bro, there's some deep darkness here. The juxtaposition is wow, ominous.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Vice President.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Yeah, shake his hand. Shake his hand, you fucking monster. You fucking piece of shit. You goddamn demented old asshole. Shake his freaking hand. You put him there.
The golden age of America begins right now. Today I will sign a series of historic executive orders. First,
this singer sounds like you. He sounds like Homer Simpson. Someone in the chat said that too.
I will declare a national emergency at our southern border.
It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president.
I gave you the A+ treatment. Thank you. Thank you all.
Wow, we are cooked, man. We are so cooked, so freaking cooked. I saw that. I think according to Wall Street Journal, Trump is continuing shipping the shipment of 2,000-pound bombs to Israel. Israel, in the process, by the way, has violated the ceasefire that it had placed, that it was supposed to abide by killing 6 people, I believe, 6 Palestinians a couple hours ago. So that's cool.